Alright guys, so how are you all doing today? So now we're going to continue choosing the proper T series. This one will cover all the intermediates, the ones that I think should be right for an intermediate keeper. Intermediates are probably what, your third or fourth tarantula, so usually the way I do it is slowly work your way up the ladder, as I mentioned in one of my other videos. Start with the most docile and then work your way up to the most aggressive ones. So pretty much, I recommend most of the bird-eating species, like the Lasiodora species, the Nandu, the Pamphobeteus, and if you want to go into arboreals, I would recommend the Samapolis, the Aretopelma, and the Tapnichius. So I'll just quickly show you the specimens again. I'm not gonna spend too much time on them since I already did this in my tour video. Okay, so here I'll start with this one here, the Tapnichius gigas, the orange tree spider. Yeah, I recommend this one to be an intermediate / expert just because of their very fast speed. But all in all, it's a great tarantula, not Hannibal. All the ones that I recommend right now are not going to be Hannibal, so don't poke your fingers on them because they may or may not bite you, which is probably not a good thing. Over on the bottom shelf, well, as I said, if you want, you could get the Lasiodora parabana, slightly more aggressive than your Brachypelmas. You can go for the Cyclosternum fasciatum or the Schmarde. Schmarde I probably recommend this as an intermediate because it's much more aggressive than the fasciatum. That's a yellow-banded bird eater. Pretty cute. This one here, the Megaphobemas. The robustum I would recommend as an intermediate. Species like the Velvetosoma, the Mesomelas, those ones I probably recommend them as experienced because they need to be kept in really cool conditions. So sometimes it's really hard to take care of, especially in my tea room. It gets about 78 during nighttime and about maybe 80 to 81 degrees during the day. So it's really kind of hard for me to keep a tarantula that needs cool conditions. So that's why I probably don't own one here. Like the A versicolor I mentioned is a great intermediate one because it's much more faster and slightly more defensive than your typical avic. You can go for species here like Citharacanthes livingstoni, the Livingston's tarantula, that's Mystery. I've shown her in the tour video. She doesn't want to come out. You can go for the Volupus species like the E. murinus, the E. udamen. But mind you may not see these very well because they like to burrow, so you have to keep them humid and have a lot of substrate in there. You can go for this one here, Thrixopelma ockerti, the Peru flame rump. It's a nice species to get. Here for the Samapolis, you can go for either Pulcher, Armenia, Reduncus, or Cambridgei. Cambridgei is probably the more docile of the four. Armenia is very nasty tempered. I've seen a lot of aggression from her, and as well as a P. Pulcher, Panama Blonde. Can just barely make it out. She's right over there. If you want to go for the old worlds, I'll probably recommend the P. lagardi, the Fort Hall baboon. It's a lot more docile than your OBT, but you just have to be really careful because they still have the same potency of venom. And yeah, so it's not a great T to handle, so you just rather be really careful. You can also go for the Ekpachapus, the Tanzanian set-legged baboon. Fortunately, I don't have a specimen to show you, but also a slightly docile species. Over here, yeah, you can go for the Nandus, Colorado velocis, the Brazilian black and white. Mine's over there. I could go for a Chromatus. You can go for a Chromatus here. Whoa. Okay, like that one. Those are good for intermediates. Just be careful of these hairs. These hairs are the worst. And their speed. Excuse me. You can go for Pecenserides, Haitian brown bird eater. Species that grows up to having a 9-inch leg span. But really be careful. These are really highly defensive tarantulas, and I found out that these have stronger venom than most bird eaters, so you really got to be careful. This one is a mad hornet. Always have seen aggression from her. Let's see what else I can recommend you. You can also go for the Panthobeteus, like the Antinous there that I have, and the Platyama. Oops, I forgot to show the Aretopelma species. Here's the Recife, ribbed tree spider. This is a 3/4 inch specimen. Very similar to the Tapenkinius species. Could be carried the same way. These are very fast and quite the attitude, so definitely don't want to handle this one. And lastly, if you want to still go into those old worlds species, I probably recommend this one because it's not as aggressive as most. You can get the Ceratojaris marshalli, the straight-horned baboon. So just want to be careful of that one. Definitely stay away from handling this one. So that's pretty much all I have to say about choosing the intermediate tarantulas. Now stay tuned for the more experienced ones.